Hey everybody, Greg Rice here in the bucket, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And the rent prices have gone up. They be up, yo. So what does that mean? That means that communities will be changing across Rhode Island and the nation as a whole. But let's look at Rhode Island. So for example, here in the bucket, when I started here, $750 would get you a 2-bedroom apartment. $650 would get you a 1-bed, and $595 would get you a studio. Now, double. So all those numbers I just said, double them. And that's being friendly. Okay, we're seeing 2 beds go for $1,500-$1,600. Prices are outrageous for most people. So what that means is it's creating what I call the Boston suburb. It's creating Providence metro area as a suburb of the Boston market. People come here to live affordably relative to Boston, and they spend the hour commute, but they consider that a savings. Okay, so what does that mean for us locals though? What does that mean for people on a fixed income or income that, receives very minimal increases year over year? Okay, most employers 1 to 3% per year is what they're increasing wages by, and that's not much. So those people, what's happening? They're getting boxed out, number one. They're not even looking at the housing stock available because it becomes increasingly more difficult to even qualify if they can even get somebody on the phone to show it to them. So each new unit that comes on the scene, right? Renovated fresh unit, a beautiful mill unit, a nice loft unit. Each time one of those happens, comes on at $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800. The people that are used to paying this price just have to ignore it. And meanwhile, they're fighting for all of those lower tier apartments, if you will. That becomes more and more people fighting for a smaller, diminishing supply. So eventually, boom, the levee breaks. What happens? People move in with roommates, for example, to split costs. They relocate to other cities, states, countries, for example. Had a tenant of mine in Woonsocket 2 weeks ago. He said, Greg, I'm moving to North Carolina. I can get twice the size of an apartment for half the price and get the same wage. No brainer. So people are relocating to the south, for example, for better pricing and better value. We also have a large Portuguese community, Cape Verde community, Dominican community here in Rhode Island. They're able to go back to Azores, go back to Cape Verde, go back to the Dominican and live there. Maybe they work remotely, okay, and get that same value, but for a much cheaper price. So it's pushing out a lot of our residents, our locals, if you call them, and we're inheriting a lot from the southern end of Boston where they say, I can just come into Rhode Island in the Pawtucket, Providence area, pay $1,600 for my loft instead of spending $3,600 for my little cramped studio and no parking in Boston. So I'm trying to paint the picture that development is good, improvement is good, renovated homes, increased revenue for the cities and state, but what it's doing is it's trimming people at the bottom that didn't sign up for this. Maybe they're on a fixed income, they're retired, they're on Social Security, they're on disability. They're not keeping up to speed with this vicious pace. It's really a vicious, fast pace, more so now than ever. And they're getting shuffled eventually until there's nothing there, and they have to make a tough life switch, if you will. So this video is just to broadcast that we need to normalize and equalize the growth. Okay, it's tough to do because it's a free market economy. People want to make money. I want to make money. Everybody wants to make money as a landlord. But if there's such a rush to do it, especially with larger developments too, it really neglects those that don't have as much of a voice or as deep as pockets as everybody else does around them. But then again, that's what creates better communities, more opportunity. Okay, industry. Look at this beautiful soccer stadium coming in. A lot of these things have a lot of unintended benefits at the bottom, but it creates a pathway to new and greener pastures. So take this as you will, but just wanted to point this out. I had a nice conversation with a client this morning about this topic, so wanted to share it with you. Once again, Greg Rice here in the bucket, your property managed.